Barack and Michelle, welcome home. Welcome home.
Former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama returned to the White House on Wednesday for the unveiling of their official portraits. The former president's photorealistic portrait was painted by artist Robert McCurdy and depicts him in a dark suit against a stark white background.
You'll note that he refused to hide any of my gray hairs, refused my request to make my ears smaller.
The former First Lady's portrait, the work of Sharon Sprung, depicts her seated on a sofa wearing a formal blue gown. The modern paintings mark an important historical moment, the first of a black president and First Lady to be added to the White House collection.
For me, this day is not just about what has happened, it's also about what could happen. Because a girl like me, she was never supposed to be up there next to Jacqueline Kennedy and Dolly Madison. She was never supposed to live in this house, and she definitely wasn't supposed to serve as First Lady.
Those portraits will now hang in the White House for decades to come, alongside official portraits of past presidents, all the way back to George Washington.
I am pleased that my portrait brings an interesting symmetry to the White House collection. It now starts and ends with a George W.
It's been 10 years since the last official portrait was added to the White House collection, when then President Obama held an unveiling ceremony for former President George W. Bush and Laura Bush. The decades-long White House tradition is typically known for its warm, bipartisan moments between current and former administrations.
What made it even more special in tradition was that even if the presidents were different parties or the incumbent president had defeated the former president, it's a nice tradition to show that we carry on, that the presidency and the presidents are a tight-knit club.
The White House Historical Association has played a role since the 1960s.
The first that were revealed under our support were the portraits of President and Mrs. Johnson. Then we went back and did the Kennedy portraits.
Each ceremony adds a piece of history to the White House walls. But in breaking with much of modern history, former President Donald Trump never held a ceremony for the Obama portraits. No reason was given, but the two have a contentious relationship. The COVID-19 pandemic also further delayed the unveiling after President Biden took office. The White House Historical Association is reportedly in the beginning steps of the portrait process for former President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. On Tuesday, the White House press secretary declined to say whether President Biden would host an unveiling ceremony for Trump, should his portrait be finished during the Biden administration.
We defer those questions to the White House Historical Association.